There's a sound beneath our feet. Low, persistent, almost imperceptible, unless you know what you're listening for. In the quiet hours of the night, in towns scattered from Canada to New Zealand, from the deserts of Arizona to the dense forests of Finland, people have reported hearing a strange, low-frequency hum. It's not coming from a machine, not from nearby traffic, not from any identifiable source. They call it simply the hum. To most people, it's nothing, background noise, maybe even tinnitus. But for those who truly hear it, it's a maddening drone. A deep, vibrating tone, like a diesel engine idling just outside the window. It penetrates walls. It keeps people awake. It causes headaches, nausea, even nosebleeds. For some, it becomes a daily torment. And perhaps most unsettling of all, it seems to be getting louder. The reports are eerily consistent. In Bristol, England, a 1970s case study catalogued more than 800 people complaining about a low-pitched noise that had no apparent source. Engineers were dispatched. Seismographs checked. The city's entire power infrastructure was reviewed. But nothing was ever found. And then the hum disappeared. Then in the 1990s, it resurfaced. First in Taos, New Mexico, a town of just over 5,000 people nestled in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains. Dozens of residents described hearing a faint, low buzzing that no one could trace. Local news caught wind of it, and soon the town was overrun with journalists, sound engineers, and even spiritualists. The government quietly sent in scientists from Los Alamos. They took readings, interviewed locals, and then left, with no explanation. Other hotspots began emerging. Windsor, Ontario. Auckland, New Zealand. Largs, Scotland. Kokomo, Indiana. All reported localized cases of the hum, and in each case, no consistent external source was identified. Not factory noise. Not gas pipelines. Not nearby transportation hubs. Not electrical grids. Sometimes, when a specific machine was blamed, a faulty fan, a transformer, it would be shut off. But the hum remained. And now, in recent years, something has shifted. Where once the phenomenon was considered niche, somewhere between conspiracy theory and environmental anomaly, new data suggests the hum may be a global event. Infrasound monitors set up to detect distant nuclear detonations have started picking up inexplicable frequencies, deep rumbles that match the reported hum frequencies, sometimes at decibel levels that should be detectable only in highly active geologic zones. But these signals are appearing in stable areas, places that haven't seen tectonic motion in thousands of years. In 2022, an unusual wave of reports emerged from the Pacific Northwest. Residents from Seattle to Southern Oregon flooded local news stations with calls and emails, describing a pressure in the air, a low drone that didn't go away. Some said it vibrated through their homes. Others said it felt like the ground itself was humming, an unnatural resonance beneath the floorboards. And here's where it gets stranger. Infrasound can travel thousands of miles. It's often produced by natural phenomena, volcanoes, earthquakes, ocean waves. But what scientists are now exploring is whether this worldwide hum might be part of something bigger, a planetary pulse, an Earth-scale resonance. Seismologist Dr. Elena Moreno, who's been quietly studying the global hum patterns for nearly a decade, described it like this: "We know the Earth has a natural frequency. The entire crust is vibrating, all the time, on an imperceptible level. What we're seeing now is a rise in coherence, zones around the world vibrating in sync. That's new." She's not the only one sounding the alarm. A German research institute monitoring deep borehole sensors in the Black Forest noticed an unusual increase in background vibrations in late 2023. The frequencies weren't seismic. They weren't acoustic. But they were there, just below the human threshold, repeating in slow, undulating waves. It was as if the Earth was beginning to hum with a new tone, one not heard before. So the question is, why now? Some believe the increase in hum frequency is linked to shifting magma deep within the mantle, suggesting something massive is building pressure. Others point to the melting of ancient ice sheets, releasing trapped tectonic tension. More fringe theories speak of magnetic shifts, or even deep Earth life forms triggering vibrations from below. Whatever the cause, the evidence is mounting. The Earth is humming. And we're finally starting to hear it. Now, before we continue, please consider subscribing and liking the video to support our team in making these videos. As reports of the Earth's eerie, low-frequency hum continue to surface from every corner of the globe, one theory stands taller than the rest, not because it's proven, but because it echoes with a sort of primal logic. It begins not in the sky, not in some secret government lab, and not in the ether of conspiracy, but beneath our feet, in the deep, heaving lungs of the planet itself. Some scientists now believe the hum may be the result of deep Earth tectonic resonance, a low, persistent vibration born from the slow, grinding movement of Earth's tectonic plates. A geological song playing on a frequency just below the threshold of ordinary human hearing. But lately it seems that song has grown louder, more pronounced, and much harder to ignore. To understand this possibility, we need to zoom out. Way out. Imagine, for a moment, Earth not as a solid sphere, but as a living, breathing organism. Its skin, the crust we live on, is cracked, divided into massive plates that drift slowly over the planet's molten interior. These tectonic plates, each thousands of kilometers wide and tens of kilometers thick, are in constant, restless motion. Some creep past each other, others collide with immense pressure, while others still pull apart, exposing raw mantle and fiery volcanic rifts. This slow-motion chaos is the hidden engine behind earthquakes, volcanoes, and the formation of entire continents. But the plates don't always move in violent spasms. Most of the time, they shift imperceptibly. Millimeters per year. An ancient dance that's been going on for over 3 billion years. And yet, even these sluggish movements can produce vibrations, microseisms, that ripple through the planet like tiny, muffled whispers. Scientists have always known about these subtle tremors. But now, something is different. In recent decades, seismologists have begun detecting a strange phenomenon, persistent, low-frequency vibrations that occur even in the absence of earthquakes. These aren't aftershocks. They're not the result of human activity or volcanic eruptions. They seem to originate from deep within the Earth's mantle, and they carry a signature that's oddly musical, rhythmic, measured. A geological heartbeat, if you will. These vibrations have been recorded in tectonically active zones and quiet regions alike. In Iceland, geophones have picked up harmonic pulses in the middle of the night. In the Pacific Northwest, residents have described a deep thrum that lingers for hours, especially before storms or seismic swells. And in regions like Japan and Chile, countries straddling the most active fault zones on the planet, the humming seems to peak and dip with the tides of underground pressure. One of the most striking examples came in 2018, when seismic stations across the globe detected a bizarre tremor originating near Mayotte, a small island between Madagascar and Mozambique. This tremor wasn't sharp or sudden. It was a steady, low-frequency signal that rang out for more than 20 minutes. No earthquake. No explosion. Just a ghostly pulse that spread across the entire planet, as if Earth had sighed through its crust. Even experienced seismologists were baffled. What could cause such a strange signal? Some point to slow-slip events, a type of silent earthquake where stress between tectonic plates is released not in seconds, but over days or weeks. These events are invisible to the naked eye. They don't shake buildings or trigger alerts. But they do produce deep, rolling waves of energy that can resonate for great distances. Think of it like dragging one slab of granite slowly over another, silent, but not without friction. Other researchers, like Dr. Kwon Nakamura of the Japan Geophysical Institute, suggest an even deeper mechanism at play. In her 2021 paper, she proposed the concept of resonant tectonic feedback, a self-perpetuating cycle where pressure builds between plates, is partially released, and then echoes through the crust in long, wave-like pulses. According to Nakamura, when certain geological conditions align, such as a high-pressure subduction zone, lubricated faults, and mantle convection currents, you get the perfect recipe for a tectonic hum. She likened the process to the sound produced by a bowed violin string. You don't need a pluck or a snap, just sustained tension and a little friction, and the note emerges on its own. Could the earth be playing its own instrument, beneath the surface, unheard by most but felt by some? In places where the hum has been reported most frequently, such as parts of Scotland, New Zealand, and the Appalachian Mountains, local geology offers clues. These areas are laced with ancient fault lines, some dating back hundreds of millions of years. Though dormant on the surface, these cracks may still act as natural resonators, amplifying subtle vibrations traveling from deeper below. It's the same principle behind how a guitar body amplifies the vibration of its strings. The Earth's crust, in this theory, is both the string and the speaker. And while the scientific community remains cautious, it's not dismissive. Major seismological centers like USGS and the European Seismic Agency have invested in ultra-low frequency monitoring systems, specifically designed to capture these subtle tectonic pulses. The data is slowly painting a picture of a planet that is far more acoustically active than previously believed. But here's where it gets eerie. Some scientists now wonder if this tectonic hum is growing louder, not in the sense of decibels, but in frequency and reach. Instruments that once needed to be planted directly over fault zones are now picking up faint harmonic signals from hundreds of miles away. The energy seems to be traveling farther, penetrating deeper. Could it be that the Earth's internal stress is increasing? The idea isn't as far-fetched as it might sound. Global warming, polar ice melt, and sea level rise are subtly redistributing mass across the planet's surface. The melting of glacial ice, in particular, is believed to reduce pressure on the Earth's crust in polar regions, causing a process known as isostatic rebound, a kind of slow upward swelling. This, in turn, can shift tectonic plates ever so slightly. Even a movement of a few millimeters could be enough to alter deep fault tension, triggering new microseismic patterns and potentially the mysterious hum. And then there's the psychological layer. Those who claim to hear the hum often describe it not as a sound, but as a presence, a sensation that comes and goes, impossible to locate, like the faint pressure of a nearby engine just beyond perception. It's not heard so much as felt. A low, persistent awareness. Some report headaches, insomnia, or a strange sense of unease. Others say it calms them. A few believe it's the Earth trying to speak, a living planet gently clearing its throat. Whether metaphor or science, the symbolism is powerful. The ground beneath us, long assumed to be solid and silent, may be more alive than we think. And if the hum is indeed tectonic in nature, it raises a haunting question. What happens when the song changes? But if the Earth is indeed humming through its own slow tectonic movements, then perhaps the most compelling mystery isn't just what is causing the sound, but why now? Why is it suddenly becoming more audible? Why are so many people, many of whom live far from any known fault line, reporting this same phenomenon, as though some silent force has shifted underground? To dig deeper, researchers have begun re-examining the structural complexity of the Earth's lithosphere, the rigid outer layer that includes the crust and the uppermost mantle. It's no longer viewed as a uniform shell, but as a patchwork of varying thickness, density, and mineral composition. These differences may act like acoustic lenses, refracting and channeling deep vibrational energy toward the surface in certain regions while dispersing it in others. Think of the lithosphere as a vast, irregular drum skin. When struck from below, by the flexing of tectonic plates or the deep churn of mantle convection, the vibration might only be felt or heard where the skin is thin, brittle, or uniquely resonant. This could explain why some locations, often geologically stable and far from seismic hotspots, seem to receive the hum rather than generate it. For example, a small coastal town in Nova Scotia has become something of a case study for this phenomenon. Residents there began reporting a strange, low-pitched vibration in the winter of 2021. Seismographs detected no local activity. There were no quarries, no factories, and no infrastructure that could explain it. But when geologists conducted a subsurface survey, they discovered that the region sat atop a narrow corridor of fractured bedrock, stretching miles inland from the ocean shelf. This fault, long inactive, acted like a resonating chamber, amplifying energy traveling from thousands of kilometers away. This revelation is leading some geophysicists to reconsider how far tectonic energy can travel. Traditional models assume that seismic waves diminish quickly as they spread, like ripples in a pond. But under specific conditions, certain waveforms, especially low-frequency ones, may become guided waves, traveling vast distances through subterranean structures without losing strength. If the Earth hum is composed of such waves, then people might be hearing echoes of geological events from halfway across the globe, delayed by hours or even days. But it gets stranger. A recent study by a French geodynamic research group uncovered something almost poetic. Some of these low-frequency vibrations seem to oscillate in a consistent, repeating pattern. Not random noise, not chaotic energy, but something with rhythm. A pattern that pulses every 26 seconds. Not loud, not violent, just steady, persistent, and bizarrely regular. This so-called 26-second pulse has baffled scientists since it was first noticed in the 1960s, but only recently has it been linked to tectonic activity off the west coast of Africa, near the Gulf of Guinea. Here's where it gets speculative, yet undeniably intriguing. What if these rhythms are not just side effects of tectonic movement, but part of a larger geophysical cycle we don't yet understand? Just as the planet has climatic and magnetic cycles, some lasting years, others millennia, could it also have acoustic or vibrational phases? Periods where the inner workings of the Earth align in such a way that they create a more prominent, more detectable hum? That possibility is drawing the attention of climate scientists too. Because as Earth's ice caps melt and sea levels rise, the redistribution of mass across the planet may be altering not only tectonic pressure, but also the resonant frequency of the crust itself. The Earth, like any massive object, has natural frequencies at which it vibrates. These are known as normal modes, and they were first detected during massive earthquakes like the 2004 Indian Ocean quake. But even without such catastrophic triggers, smaller and subtler shifts could be nudging these frequencies into new patterns, frequencies that are beginning to overlap with the range of human perception. And when those modes align, when pressure, geography, and geological structure all resonate in harmony, that's when the hum is heard. But not by everyone. This leads to another strange aspect of the phenomenon, its selectivity. Not every person in a hum-reported region hears the sound. In some communities, only a handful of individuals can detect it, while others remain completely oblivious. It's prompted questions that fall outside the bounds of pure geology and into the more elusive fields of human physiology and perception. Could some people be naturally more sensitive to these frequencies? Are their auditory systems more finely tuned to low, infrasonic vibrations? Or is the sensation not truly auditory at all, but something that registers in the nervous system or bones, rather than the ears? Some researchers have begun comparing these hum hearers to individuals who experience microwave auditory effects or vibroacoustic sensitivity, conditions where the brain interprets electromagnetic or mechanical stimuli as sound, even when no external noise is present. Could tectonic resonance be inducing similar physiological responses? Could the Earth's movements be felt before they are heard? If so, then the hum may be more than just a geological curiosity. It could be a biological mystery, a reminder that human perception is far from uniform, and that our understanding of Earth's acoustic landscape is still primitive. And still, the question lingers, why is this all happening now? Why, after millions of years of planetary motion, would the Earth's deep tones begin to rise into the edge of human experience? Is it simply better instruments and broader awareness? Or is the planet itself shifting into a new vibrational phase, one marked by deeper pressure, longer tectonic cycles, and more pervasive energy release? If that's the case, then we may not be hearing the beginning of a mystery, but the start of a warning. As our minds drift away from the seismic depths of tectonic vibrations and the endless rumblings of shifting plates, a new possibility begins to emerge, not from below our feet, but from the skies that stretch above us and the oceans that move beneath them. The idea is almost poetic in nature, yet grounded in science. What if the hum doesn't originate from the solid earth at all, but from the invisible dialogue between the sea and the sky? This theory invites us to look upward and outward, into the great atmospheric ocean that envelopes our world, where winds swirl, clouds billow, and pressure waves travel silently across continents. Within that delicate and dynamic system, a subtle symphony may be playing, a constant resonance we are only just beginning to notice. At the center of this unfolding theory is an elusive and largely misunderstood phenomenon known as the microbarometer. The name itself seems to hum with mystery, evoking a fusion of minuscule precision and barometric force. But what is a microbarometer really? At its core, it is a type of infrasonic atmospheric pressure wave, a sound wave so low in frequency that it is measured not in kilohertz like our everyday sounds, but in fractions of a hertz. These waves typically vibrate between 0.1 and 0.5 hertz, making them entirely inaudible to the human ear. And yet, despite their silence, they are astonishingly powerful, capable of traversing vast distances, circling the globe not once, but multiple times without ever fading completely. Like the low hum of a distant engine buried in the wind, these waves are the Earth's quiet breath. But what bursts such a wave? To understand, we must turn our attention to the open oceans, where the air and sea are in constant conversation. Out in those remote, windswept regions, far from the clutter of civilization, massive waves churn day and night, colliding and overlapping in intricate, shifting patterns. When two oceanic wave trains meet at just the right angle, their energy doesn't simply cancel or reinforce in the water. Instead, it spills upward, pushing against the base of the atmosphere. This meeting of waves generates a rhythmic, consistent pulse in air pressure, like the steady thump of a colossal heartbeat. These pulses rise through the layers of the atmosphere, rippling outward in every direction as microbarometers, tiny yet persistent tremors in the sky. It's a haunting concept that the voice of the sea, as some researchers have come to call it, is constantly echoing overhead, unnoticed by the vast majority of us. These infrasound waves are not momentary. They don't come and go like thunderclaps or the howl of a storm. They persist, sometimes for days or weeks, emanating from stormy regions or areas of intense oceanic turbulence. They are as much a part of Earth's natural rhythm as the tides or the changing of the seasons. And yet, we only began detecting them reliably in the mid-20th century, thanks to sensitive infrasound arrays originally designed to monitor nuclear explosions under the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. What was once a tool for global security became a window into the Earth's whispering patterns. Here's where things get even more intriguing. Though these waves are too low for the human ear to register as sound, they may not be entirely imperceptible to the human body. Infrasound has long been associated with a strange suite of physiological and psychological effects. Some people report feelings of anxiety, dread, or pressure in the chest when exposed to strong infrasonic waves. Others describe disorientation, difficulty concentrating, or the subtle perception of an untraceable hum, an auditory ghost that no one else seems to hear. In certain environments, these sensations have even been misattributed to paranormal activity or haunting presences. The body, it seems, can hear what the ears cannot. This revelation leads to a fascinating hypothesis. Perhaps the global hum is not an external sound at all, but a kind of bodily response to infrasound, triggered by changes in atmospheric pressure propagated by distant oceanic activity. It could explain why the hum is heard more often at night, when the atmosphere becomes more stable and capable of channeling infrasound over long distances with greater efficiency. It might also clarify why some individuals are acutely affected while others remain completely unaware. Our biology, our environment, and even the design of our homes could all play a role in whether we perceive this hum or remain oblivious to its presence. And the story doesn't end there. Microbarometers, as it turns out, are becoming more intense and more frequent, at least according to atmospheric monitoring data collected over the past few decades. As global temperatures rise, so too do sea surface temperatures and wind speeds, especially in storm-prone ocean regions like the Southern Ocean and North Atlantic. Warmer waters mean more energetic waves, which in turn means stronger microbaroms. What was once a faint, constant pressure might now be intensifying, reaching thresholds where even more people can begin to sense or perceive the change, either subconsciously or through direct resonance with nearby structures. And here lies another curious wrinkle. These atmospheric waves don't simply float through the air and vanish. They often interact with the ground when they reach land. In certain geographic areas, especially those with porous limestone, subterranean tunnels, or fault lines, these low-frequency waves can couple with the ground, causing it to vibrate subtly. In man-made environments, such as urban centers filled with tall buildings, utility lines, and underground infrastructure, this energy can become trapped, echoed, or even amplified. Some buildings act like resonating chambers, picking up these infrasonic signals and vibrating in tune with them, creating a hum that may not be traceable to any one source. Imagine living in a quiet rural home where the only sounds are the rustle of trees and the wind. Then, as the sun sets, a subtle vibration begins. You can't hear it exactly, but you can feel it. A faint, pressing sensation in your ears. A dull reverberation through the floorboards. It doesn't stop. It doesn't change. Night after night it returns. When you step outside, nothing. But indoors, it's as if something just below or above the range of your senses has taken root. This has been the experience of many hearers of the global hum. And in some cases, after extensive study, the culprit turned out to be microbarom activity interacting with local structures. Researchers have even discovered geographic hotspots, regions where atmospheric conditions and topographical features align just right to make microbaroms more noticeable. Valleys surrounded by mountains, coastal cities bordered by open sea, areas with long underground transit systems. Each of these may be more susceptible to atmospheric hum phenomena, particularly when the surrounding air is calm and stable. Then, there's the potential that human infrastructure is unwittingly enhancing the effect. Modern cities are filled with massive bridges, pipelines, and tunnels, each one acting as a potential resonator for infrasonic waves. As these structures vibrate in response to long-wave pressure pulses, they may convert that motion into audible or felt vibrations within homes or neighborhoods nearby. In other words, the very technologies that define our civilization may be serving as amplifiers for a planetary signal we were never meant to hear. What we might be experiencing, then, isn't a singular mystery with a simple cause, but the complex layering of environmental changes, natural acoustic forces, and an increasingly intricate human landscape. A slow evolution in the way energy flows between the sea, the sky, and the soil, gently shifting the baseline of what we perceive as silence. If true, it would suggest that the hum is not an anomaly or a malfunction, but rather, a natural byproduct of a changing Earth. A faint signal, growing steadily louder, as our climate warms, our oceans churn, and the whisper of the sky becomes impossible to ignore. But even with everything we've uncovered so far, it still feels like there's something more going on, something deeper and stranger just beneath the surface. This hum, this strange sound heard around the world, might not be coming from one single place or cause. It could actually be the result of many natural sounds blending together, slowly building into a low, almost invisible tone that some people can sense more than hear. Imagine this: the oceans are constantly moving, never resting. Storms out at sea create powerful waves that crash and rumble across the surface of the water. These massive forces create sounds, very low sounds, that travel through the air all around the globe. Most of us can't hear them at all because they're far below the range of normal human hearing. But in rare moments, when everything lines up just right, these low sounds might mix together, becoming something we can pick up. A soft hum, deep and slow, that feels like it's coming from nowhere, and everywhere, all at once. Some scientists believe that what we're hearing could be the overlap of different natural sounds. When they line up perfectly, they may create a new rhythm, a slow pulse that's just strong enough for some people to detect. These sounds might pass through the air silently for most, but for those who are sensitive to them, or happen to live in the right place, the hum becomes real, like a quiet vibration that you can't quite escape. This brings up another fascinating idea. Maybe it's not just the sound itself, but where you are that matters. Certain places on Earth might act like natural amplifiers, places where low sounds from the ocean or atmosphere get trapped or echoed in ways that make them louder. Valleys, coastlines, or towns built in just the right spot might unintentionally boost these sounds. You might live in one of these spots without even knowing it, until one night, when the world goes quiet, and suddenly, you hear it. There have even been stories of entire communities hearing the hum for months at a time, only for it to suddenly vanish as the weather changes. No new construction, no earthquakes, no changes in technology. Just a shift in the wind, or the temperature, or something in the sky. One day it's there. The next it's gone. That's what makes this theory so strange. It's not just about what's making the sound, but how the earth and sky are carrying it. You see, the air above us is layered. Warm air, cold air, moving air, all stacked like invisible blankets. When the conditions are just right, these layers can trap sound, bouncing it back and forth above our heads like it's stuck in a tunnel. That tunnel can carry the sound for thousands of miles. If it happens to drift over a quiet town, the hum might suddenly become clear and steady. And again, not everyone would hear it. Maybe only a few people, sitting still in silence, late at night, would notice it and wonder where it's coming from. Some buildings can make it even more noticeable. A quiet home with thick walls, or an old structure with wooden beams, might vibrate ever so slightly when these low sounds pass through. You wouldn't necessarily hear a loud noise, but you might feel something. A soft pressure. A dull pulse. An itch in your ears you can't quite scratch. These buildings could be picking up the hum the way a guitar string picks up a breeze, silent until the right note hits. In fact, some researchers believe that what people are hearing might not even be the sound itself, but how their surroundings respond to it. Maybe your house becomes a kind of echo chamber, pulling the hum in and making it stronger. And it's not just the house. Even underground pipes, large metal structures, or certain types of soil can help carry those vibrations right into your living space. Two people living on the same street might have totally different experiences. One hears nothing. The other can't sleep at night because of the low, unshakable hum. And then there's how our minds process it. The human brain is wired to notice patterns. If you hear something faint and steady, your brain starts trying to make sense of it. It wants to find a rhythm, a cause, a source. Over time, the hum can begin to feel almost alive, like a presence that follows you, even when nothing around you has changed. Some people describe it as a buzzing deep in their bones. Others say it's like the earth itself is breathing. Slow, constant, heavy. What's even more intriguing is how deeply personal the experience can be. One person might find it soothing, like a distant lullaby. Another might find it maddening, like a never-ending engine humming just out of reach. The hum isn't just a sound, it becomes a part of your world, your home, your routine. And once you notice it, it's hard to unhear it. So, if this theory holds any truth, the hum might be a combination of natural forces working together, shaped by where we live, how we build our homes, and how our own minds respond to the sounds around us. It's not just a question of what's making the noise, it's about how the entire world, and we ourselves, are reacting to it. Now, let's turn our attention to a theory that, while seemingly outlandish, has nonetheless captured the imaginations of a few who have listened carefully to the hum. What if the hum is caused by massive, hidden machines operating deep beneath the Earth's surface? It's an idea that sounds almost too wild to believe, yet, when we start looking at the right pieces of the puzzle, it begins to take on an eerie plausibility. Imagine this: vast, underground mechanical systems, giant engines, turbines, or even complex infrastructure networks, humming away beneath the ground, unseen and unheard by most of us, but just faintly audible to those sensitive enough to pick up on the vibrations. These machines could be constantly running, generating the hum that has baffled so many. This theory might first seem like something straight out of a science fiction novel, right? But the more you think about it, the more it becomes a strange, yet somewhat fascinating, possibility. Consider this. There are countless places on Earth that have large underground systems, some ancient, some relatively modern, that operate on a continuous basis. Take, for example, the underground rail systems of major cities. Some of the world's largest cities, like New York, London, or Tokyo, have subway systems that run day and night, shifting massive amounts of people and cargo. Beneath the surface, these subways create vibrations, constant low-frequency sounds, as trains rush through tunnels, grinding against tracks, and engines roar. And it's not just subways. Think of the countless other underground systems: mining operations, military bunkers, scientific research stations, and even underground power plants. Each of these has the potential to create its own signature hum, its own unique vibration that could travel up through the ground, unnoticed by most but heard by a few. Now, imagine that this hum isn't accidental. What if these underground systems are the product of something far more elaborate, hidden technologies that are intentionally designed to hum in this way? Could there be massive underground transportation corridors, tunnels or maglev systems stretching across continents, connecting vast parts of the Earth without being seen by the public? These systems could be the result of highly advanced technology, either from a government or private corporation, operating under the radar for reasons beyond our understanding. And while we might not have ever seen them, they might be running continuously beneath our feet, day and night, shifting people, goods, or even information from one part of the world to another. Some theorists suggest that these machines could be part of deep Earth facilities, built for the purpose of harnessing geothermal energy or conducting top-secret research. Think about it. The Earth's crust holds an enormous amount of heat, which could be tapped into for power. The noise could come from the engines, generators, or turbines used to convert this heat into energy. But these facilities would need to be isolated from the outside world, hidden away deep underground to avoid detection and maintain secrecy. The constant hum could then be the sound of those machines operating 24/7, generating power or conducting research far beneath the surface. This theory is compelling when we think about how little we truly know about the full extent of underground infrastructure in certain areas, especially in remote or militarized regions. What's particularly interesting about this theory is how the hum isn't uniform everywhere. In certain places, people report hearing the hum more clearly, while in other locations, it's barely noticeable, if at all. This could be the result of specific underground machines or facilities that produce sound waves that resonate more effectively in certain geographic areas. Imagine a vast system of deep tunnels, some much larger and more complex than we can imagine, with giant turbines or engines running constantly. When these systems are operating, they would emit low-frequency sounds that could be transmitted through the Earth's layers. These sound waves could be amplified by certain geological features, like a layer of rock that acts like an acoustic amplifier, or areas with specific kinds of soil that conduct sound more efficiently. In essence, these machines could be singing through the Earth, their vibrations carried upward and reaching the surface in isolated spots, which is why not everyone experiences the hum. This hum might even be connected to large-scale, long-distance communication systems. Imagine massive underground arrays that have been set up to send signals or pulses of energy across vast distances. These systems would have to operate 24/7, constantly sending and receiving data through electromagnetic waves or low-frequency signals. And since these waves are traveling through the Earth itself, they would likely produce a steady hum, a constant sound generated by the operation of these underground systems. These signals might not even be intended for us. Perhaps they are meant for something, or someone, else entirely. But whatever their purpose, the sound they create could ripple up to the surface, affecting those who are attuned to it. In addition to these hidden transportation or communication systems, we also have to entertain the idea of deep Earth research stations that might use highly advanced technology to monitor or experiment with the planet's interior. Perhaps these stations are conducting experiments on seismic activity, gravity, or other geological phenomena. If the facilities use enormous machinery or energy sources to power their experiments, the vibrations from that activity could translate into the hum that people have been hearing across the world. These stations would be operating in isolation, far from prying eyes, making them virtually undetectable to the public. The hum could be a byproduct of their work, something that was never meant to be noticed by the outside world but has been inadvertently picked up by those sensitive enough to hear it. And what if these machines or systems aren't even of human origin? This is the more mysterious side of the theory. Some believe that the hum could be the result of ancient technologies, buried deep beneath the earth for millennia. These machines or energy sources may have been built long before modern civilization, their purpose long forgotten, yet still functioning below the surface. These hidden relics could be the remnants of lost civilizations, their machines still running, still alive, even after all these years. The hum, in this context, becomes a kind of ancient call, a noise that has been traveling upward for thousands of years, now only faintly audible to the human ear. The more you delve into this idea, the stranger it seems, yet somehow the more plausible it becomes. The idea of underground machines, buried beneath the earth, operating without our knowledge, is chilling but thought-provoking. Whether these machines are of human origin or something older and more mysterious, the hum may be the only clue that something vast and hidden is still at work beneath our feet. The question then becomes, if these machines are truly out there, what are they doing? And why are they still running after all this time? Now that we've explored the possible origins of the strange earth hums, let's shift our focus to what kind of effects these mysterious sounds could be having around the world. These hums, although subtle and often unnoticed by many, may have far-reaching consequences, some of which are only just beginning to be understood. The more we look into this phenomenon, the clearer it becomes that the hum might not just be a harmless, background noise. It could be influencing both the environment and the people living above it in surprising and potentially alarming ways. The first and most immediate effect is the psychological impact on those who hear the hum. While the sound is often described as a low-frequency vibration, almost like the hum of a distant engine, it can be deeply unsettling. For those sensitive to it, this constant noise can have a profound effect on their mental well-being. The sound, even though it's not always loud or intrusive, creates an ongoing sense of unease, leading to stress, anxiety, and sleep disturbances. People living in areas where the hum is more pronounced often report difficulty concentrating, irritability, and a general sense of uneasiness that doesn't seem to have any clear origin. It's as though the mind is trying to process something unfamiliar, yet inescapable. Over time, the mental strain can wear people down, affecting their daily lives, relationships, and even their work performance. Sleep disruption is another well-documented effect of the hum. People who live in places where the hum is most pronounced often describe having trouble falling asleep or staying asleep. The low-frequency sound, while not loud enough to be heard consciously, is felt through the body, creating a sense of discomfort. The vibrations can cause a sort of internal restlessness, preventing people from entering a deep, restful state. This leads to a chronic lack of sleep, which in turn affects overall health, cognitive function, and emotional well-being. What's particularly concerning is that these effects aren't always immediately noticeable. Over time, as the body becomes increasingly exhausted from lack of restorative sleep, it can lead to more serious health issues like heart disease, high blood pressure, and a weakened immune system. But the psychological effects don't stop there. Some experts believe that the constant hum could be contributing to increased feelings of isolation or disconnection in affected areas. Imagine living in a place where a strange, unexplainable hum is always present in the background. It's not just the physical discomfort, it's also the feeling of being part of something larger and more mysterious that's outside of your control. For many, the hum becomes a symbol of something they can't fully understand, leading to a sense of anxiety and helplessness. Communities where this hum is most prominent often report higher levels of social tension and general malaise. People may begin to feel disconnected from the world around them, as if they are living in a place that's slowly becoming more alien and unrecognizable. This sense of isolation can be both disorienting and depressing, further compounding the psychological toll that the hum is taking. On a larger scale, the hum could even have physical effects on the environment. One of the more unusual theories suggests that the hum might be linked to unseen geological changes taking place beneath the surface. As we know, the Earth is a constantly shifting and dynamic planet, with tectonic plates moving and reshaping the landscape over time. Some scientists have proposed that the strange hum could be a byproduct of seismic activity, or changes happening deep in the Earth's crust. If this is the case, the hum could be a subtle indicator of larger, more significant changes taking place beneath the Earth's surface. Perhaps the hum is being generated by underground tectonic movements, such as the shifting of magma beneath volcanoes or the gradual adjustment of fault lines. Over time, this subtle hum could be a sign that seismic pressure is building, potentially triggering earthquakes or volcanic activity in the near future. Climate effects could also be an unexpected side effect of the hum. If the hum is connected to large underground energy sources or even artificial machinery, it's possible that the vibrations are having an impact on the surrounding environment. Low-frequency sound waves can travel through the Earth, affecting the atmosphere in subtle ways. In some cases, scientists speculate that these vibrations might be influencing weather patterns. For example, the vibrations could be causing small fluctuations in air pressure, temperature, or humidity in localized areas, which over time could alter the way weather systems behave. While this might sound far-fetched, there's a growing body of research that suggests vibrations and sound waves from underground sources can indeed have an impact on the environment, albeit in ways we might not fully understand yet. On the more dramatic side, some researchers have even wondered if the hum could be related to the sudden, unpredictable changes happening in certain ecosystems around the world. These changes include shifts in animal migration patterns, the unexplained die-off of species, or even the alteration of plant growth in certain areas. Could the hum somehow be linked to disturbances in the Earth's magnetic field? If the hum is, in fact, connected to massive underground machinery, as some suggest, it's possible that this machinery is generating electromagnetic fields that are affecting biological systems on a large scale. Animals, particularly those that rely on magnetic fields for navigation, such as migratory birds or certain species of whales, could be thrown off course by disruptions in the Earth's natural magnetic field. This, in turn, could lead to erratic or abnormal behavior, affecting entire ecosystems in the process. Furthermore, the hum might also be affecting human health in ways we haven't fully grasped yet. The continuous exposure to low-frequency sound waves, especially over long periods, could be causing subtle disturbances to our nervous systems. These frequencies, although below the threshold of normal hearing, might still have an impact on the body's stress responses. Our bodies are incredibly sensitive to the frequencies of sound and vibration, even those we can't consciously hear. Over time, this prolonged exposure might be contributing to a range of unexplained health issues, such as headaches, dizziness, tinnitus, or even chronic fatigue. The more research we do into the hum, the more likely it is that we'll begin to uncover potential long-term health consequences that we are only beginning to understand. Ultimately, the potential effects of these strange Earth hums are still largely speculative, but the more we explore them, the more it becomes clear that they are not just a curiosity. They may be a sign of something much more significant happening beneath our feet. Whether they are an indicator of seismic shifts, the result of underground infrastructure, or perhaps even an unintended side effect of an ancient mystery, the consequences of the hum are far-reaching and still unfolding. What we do know is that the hum is here, and it's leaving a mark on both the people who hear it and the planet on which we live. As we continue to uncover more about this phenomenon, one thing remains certain: the hum might not be the simple, inconsequential noise that some believe it to be, but rather an indication of forces much greater than we can yet fully comprehend. As we reach the end of our exploration into the strange hums that have been heard around the world, it's clear that this phenomenon, mysterious, elusive, and deeply intriguing, has sparked curiosity and speculation like few other events in recent history. What began as whispers of strange vibrations beneath the Earth's surface has grown into a topic that stretches across various fields of study, each offering its own theories and possible explanations. From scientific investigations to folklore and the unexplainable, the Earth hums appear to be much more than just a minor curiosity. They may hold key insights into the inner workings of our planet, the effects of unseen forces at play, and perhaps even the future of our Earth and the people who inhabit it. We've explored multiple potential causes, each with its own unique possibilities and complexities. First, we considered the theory that the hums are a result of seismic activity beneath the Earth's crust. This theory suggested that as tectonic plates shift and seismic pressures build, the hums could be the byproduct of this natural process. The Earth is constantly in motion, and even the smallest movements below the surface could generate vibrations that, when amplified, manifest as the hums we hear. While this theory is grounded in geological science, it's also one that raises many questions. How much seismic activity is necessary to produce these sounds? And if seismic activity is indeed the cause, how might it be linked to larger, more dangerous geological events like earthquakes or volcanic eruptions? Following that, we delved into the possibility that the hums might be caused by human-made infrastructure buried beneath the Earth's surface. Perhaps underground machinery, large-scale mining operations, or even technological advancements we don't fully understand are generating these vibrations. This theory, while more speculative, also opened up the intriguing idea that the hums could be an unintended byproduct of human progress. As civilization advances, it's not out of the realm of possibility that we could be hearing the reverberations of our own technological footprint echoing across the globe. Whether it's from drilling, energy production, or communications networks, the hum could be linked to humanity's increasingly pervasive presence beneath the Earth's surface. Then, we considered the more outlandish but no less fascinating theory that the hums might be the result of extraterrestrial activity. As unlikely as it may seem, the idea that an alien species could be trying to communicate with us, perhaps unintentionally, or perhaps as a precursor to something greater, opens up an entirely different realm of speculation. The universe is vast, and the possibility of intelligent life elsewhere is something that humanity has long pondered. If aliens were behind these hums, it would certainly explain their unexplained and erratic nature. This theory may feel far-fetched, but the truth is, we've only just begun to scratch the surface of understanding the universe around us, and perhaps the hums are a clue we aren't yet capable of deciphering. While these potential causes are certainly compelling, they only scratch the surface of the broader picture. We also explored the psychological and physical effects of the hums on those who hear them. For some, these sounds may seem insignificant, just a curious background noise that can be easily ignored. For others, however, the hum is a constant, low-level disruption that has a profound effect on mental and physical well-being. The psychological strain caused by the hums, with their ability to induce anxiety, sleep disruption, and a general sense of unease, is far from trivial. Over time, the continuous presence of these sounds can affect one's quality of life, leading to long-term health concerns. Furthermore, the hums could even be influencing human relationships and societal dynamics, as people living in areas where the hum is most pronounced often report feelings of isolation and disconnect. This larger social effect, paired with individual psychological struggles, paints a picture of just how pervasive and far-reaching the hums could be. Additionally, there are potential environmental impacts that should not be overlooked. The hums might be linked to seismic shifts, underground infrastructure, or even climate changes, each of which could have their own cascading effects on the planet. If these vibrations are a product of tectonic movements, they could signal the buildup of seismic pressure, hinting at future geological events that could reshape landscapes and pose risks to human populations. Similarly, if human activity is contributing to the hums, it may signal larger environmental consequences, particularly in areas where these infrastructures are creating unintended disturbances. The potential impact on local wildlife, climate patterns, and ecosystems cannot be ignored, as subtle vibrations may be altering the natural balance in ways we do not yet fully understand. Then, we considered the more dramatic and speculative notion that the hums could be a signal of something far more mysterious and profound, an otherworldly presence, or even the result of ancient energy forces we have yet to comprehend. This theory, while highly speculative, is also the one that sparks the imagination the most. The possibility that the hums could be a manifestation of forces far beyond our understanding, whether extraterrestrial, or some unknown energy within the Earth itself, forces us to reconsider everything we know about the planet and the universe. Could these hums be the Earth's way of communicating with us, warning us of changes to come, or even signaling the beginning of a new chapter in the planet's long and storied history? We can't help but wonder how such a discovery might change our understanding of life on Earth, as well as our place in the universe. Finally, as we tied all these theories together, it became clear that the effects of the hums are not limited to just those who hear them. The environmental, psychological, and potentially even physical consequences are significant and should be taken seriously. Whether these hums are the product of natural geological processes, human-made infrastructure, or something far more extraordinary, one thing is certain: the hums are more than just background noise. They represent a signal, perhaps of warning, perhaps of change, that we have yet to fully understand. They could be a call to action for scientists, researchers, and governments around the world to take a closer look at the unseen forces shaping our planet. And as we continue to explore the mysteries of the Earth hums, we may one day discover that these vibrations hold the key to unlocking a much deeper understanding of the world beneath our feet and the forces that shape our existence. As we reflect on everything discussed, from the different potential causes to the possible effects on both humans and the planet, it's clear that this phenomenon is not one that will be easily explained away. The hums remain one of Earth's greatest mysteries, with no clear answer in sight. But perhaps that's the very thing that makes them so captivating, the idea that, just beneath the surface of everyday life, there's an unseen force at work, one that could be changing everything we know about the world we inhabit. Until we have answers, we can only speculate, but in doing so, we open the door to new questions, new theories, and the ever-present possibility that the hums are part of something much larger than we could ever imagine. If you've made it this far, thank you for joining us on this journey into one of the most intriguing and mysterious phenomena happening on our planet today. The Earth's hums may still remain a mystery, but your curiosity and engagement help us get closer to uncovering the truth behind it all. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the strange sounds that echo beneath our feet, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on more captivating content like this. Join our growing community as we continue to explore the unexplained and uncover the mysteries that lie beneath the surface of our world. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.